Good evening, Craig Smart with an ABC News update. WA Police will launch a Work to Rule campaign tomorrow to force the state government to accept their 20% pay claim. And the police union has warned officers will escalate the severity of the work bans until the government agrees to their terms. The Police Minister, John Kabelki, maintains the government's offer of 12.5% over 3 years was fair and says he'll be carefully scrutinising the nature of the work bans. A Russian plane carrying 200 people has crashed in the Siberian city of Irkutsk. The plane was coming into land after a night flight from Moscow. The Airbus A310 hit the runway and burst into flames before skidding into a building. About 50 people are reported to have survived the crash. The United States says it will negotiate with North Korea over its missile program, but only after Pyongyang rejoins the international peace talks it abandoned 8 months ago. Arriving in Seoul, a US envoy rejected North Korean demands for economic sanctions to be eased. The United States has also strengthened its military presence in North Asia. A warship with anti-missile capabilities has arrived at its new home port in Japan. Pope Benedict XVI has taken his campaign for a return to traditional Christian values to Spain. Addressing a big crowd in the city of Valencia, he condemned hedonism and homosexuality and called for a strengthening of family ties. The Pope's visit brought Spanish Catholic tradition to the ultra-modern Arts and Science Centre. Nearby, a demonstrator staged a nude bicycle ride in protest at the Pope's position on AIDS and gay marriage. Police in the Northern Territory are continuing to search for the body of a young girl taken by a crocodile in remote Arnhem Land River. The 8-year-old was attacked on the Blythe River between two remote communities 400 kilometres east of Darwin. Police say she was fishing with her parents around 8:30 last night when she was grabbed.
They'd gone to the water's edge to collect water. The girl apparently had gone ahead of the parents, and in the darkness they heard a big splash, and the child was gone.
Local police and rangers began their search this morning for the girl's body and the crocodile. A man has been charged by police with grievous bodily harm after an attack on a teenager outside a Perth night spot on Friday night. Meanwhile, the family of the victim, Matthew Day, has begun an anxious bedside vigil since the 19-year-old was put into an induced coma.
A night out with friends at a local pub has left this 19-year-old sales assistant with fractures to the back of his skull and neck and bruising and blood on his brain. He's in intensive care at Sir Charles Gardner Hospital, where his worried family has been at his bedside since the attack.
My parents are just most distressed. We've had so much family support. Friends and family have been absolutely wonderful. I don't wish this upon my worst enemy.
He was struck and then fell to the ground after an argument broke out while patrons were queuing to go inside the Careen Tavern around 10 o'clock on Friday night.
The guy, fell straight back on his back, hit the ground pretty hard, and obviously, he got taken away by ambulance, so it was pretty serious.
Last night, police charged a 19-year-old man with grievous bodily harm.
He's a serious offence. He was released on a surety bail and also bail conditions not to attend any licensed premises until he goes to court.
Mr May remains in a critical but stable condition.
The next 72 hours are going to be the most crucial part when the swelling really shows. We can just hope and wish, and really it's a waiting game from here.
Police are calling for any witnesses to the attack to come forward. Sue Short, ABC News.
The yacht Gypsy Moth 4 has made a historic return to Sydney Harbour to commemorate the solo voyage of Sir Francis Chichester. Flanked by a flotilla of well-wishers, the 54-foot ketch sailed back through the Heads today, nearly 40 years after its last visit. Starting in 1966, adventurer Sir Francis took 226 days to become the first person to sail solo around the world from west to east, with one stop only. That was in Sydney. Turning to WA's weather now. In the north, fine throughout, with maxima staying below the 30 mark. Showers are expected throughout the south, with a gale warning from Cape Naturalist to Israelite Bay and strong wind warnings from Carnarvon to Cape Naturalist and Israelite Bay to Eucla. For Perth, cold with a few showers clearing later, a top of 16 degrees after an overnight low of 10. And the outlook, it should be fine through the week until the chance of a shower on Sunday. And that's all from the Perth newsroom for now. Good night.